charge. The editor-in-chief of US National Public Radio has announced her resignation. Edith Chapin's decision was made public soon after the Republican-controlled Congress voted to slash funding for the public broadcaster. President Trump has accused NPR of being biased against conservative views. In football, England have won the first semi-final of the Women's Euros 2025 tournament, beating Italy 2-1. The Italians led for much games since England equalised late into injury time. They went on to score the winning goal minutes from the end of extra time. Dan Rowan reports.
This victory ensures that England are now defined by their battling spirit, last-gasp comebacks and the impact of manager Serena Wiegmann's substitutes. And in Michelle Adjimang, the Lionesses now have a new hero. Just 4 years ago, she was a ball girl at Wembley. Last night, having already scored a late equaliser in the quarter-final.
SFM, Johnson City, Tennessee.
One of his supporters.
And the BBC team has returned to Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo to find out what has changed since rebels took over. First, a summary of the latest world news.
BBC News with Danielle Yawowiecka. Donald Trump has announced a trade deal with Japan, under which the US will significantly cut its threatened 25% import tax on Japanese goods. The tariff will instead be 15%. The announcement sent Japanese stocks higher, particularly car manufacturers. More than 100 aid agencies have issued a joint statement warning that mass starvation is spreading across the Gaza Strip, despite Israeli denials. Israeli officials have acknowledged there's been a significant drop in the supplies reaching Gazans, but they've dismissed as propaganda.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, as it was in the beginning.
The editor-in-chief of US National Public Radio has announced her resignation. Edith Chapin's decision was made public soon after the Republican-controlled Congress voted to slash funding for the public broadcaster.
The downfall of planet Earth
Brazil's
on the shoulders of one
denied he breached
orange
a social media ban
turd.
by giving an interview to journalists.
Donnie
The former
Trump,
president is on trial for allegedly plotting
TV
a coup.
host of a
The
country.
Malaysian government has announced a one-off cash giveaway for all adults in an effort to ease growing concerns about the rising cost
Yep,
of living.
that's what
The
Donnie's
Prime Minister said
giving
the one-off
everyone.
handout of about $24 would be paid
Oh,
for
that'll
every
work.
person
You know,
over the age of
that'll
18.
make everything better.
Scientists working in Colombia's Tatacoa Desert have found evidence of a fight to the death between two ancient
fight
predators
through the
13
death.
million years
Oh.
ago. Researchers examined teeth
That's
marks
Donnie
on the leg bone
versus,
of a large
Mr.
avian
Canadian.
reptile known as a terror bird. They said the creature
That's
was apparently
Donnie,
bitten
you know.
by a 5-meter
Terror
long
bird.
crocodile.
He's terrified,
BBC World
screaming.
News.
Ah, ah, ah.
Thank you very much for that news, and welcome to Newsday on the BBC World Service with
Yeah,
Rob Young
BBC,
and
we're
Priya
listening
Rai.
to
Over
it.
the next half an hour, stories for you from Mozambique, Democratic Republic of Congo and Cameroon. And in our sports news, Zara has the latest from the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The champions South
Let's forget
Africa
everything
are
and just
out.
listen
It's
about the girls.
Nigeria facing the hosts Morocco in the final.
Let's head to Mozambique in East Africa now, because the main opposition leader there says he's been charged with 5 offences, including inciting and instigating terrorism. After last year's disputed elections, Venancio Mondlane led months of protests that were violently suppressed
So
by
what's
the police.
democracy?
Rights groups
It's
said nearly
your
400
ability
people
to
were killed.
vote your
Mr. Mondlane says the charges
representatives.
are evidence of the persecution he's faced for exposing what he regards as electoral fraud. Well, let's speak now to an opposition member of parliament from Mondlane's Podemos
Listen to
party,
this guy.
Helder Mendoza, who joins us from the capital, Maputo. Welcome to
It does
Newsday.
not
Just
make it a
explain
good
what evidence has been presented for
sell.
these charges against your leader.
All right, thank you. Let me say that there is no evidence up to now, and the paper is still
If
being
you
kept
can't believe
in accusations.
that what's going
What
on
we
on this
know now
planet
is that,
is scripted by a
we
small
already have
group
an
of
accusation.
transnational
And an
gangsters
accusation is
across
here
the
which
planet
people will take a chance to analyze exactly what's the possibilities that we do have. And the lawyers is working on that. But one huge reality that we can presume right now is that
enough of that. So that
Gladi, it's on the way to jail.
sent away to jail. That's where everyone's going. But not if you get involved. There's 14 of you there. Get involved, And getting involved is, I have $13 in my bank account. It'd be nice if some of you guys threw something in my PayPal account, and that would be through, the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, right? And I would love it if you did it. You don't have to. What I would like even better is if the 14 people who are no longer there, but would get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. And let's have a conversation, mano y mano, right? Over the 8 years that I've done this, I've had about 500 people, get a hold of me there. And most of them were desperate with their life. They were like, I don't know what to do. And all I did was talk to them, right? And now they're doing whatever they're doing. A lot of them, I just basically say, what do you want to do? Then go off and do it, And in a community sense, you need to have your community with you, your neighbor, the guy you see at the post office box or down by the on the fence, or the guy you work with, or the gal you work with, or the person at the supermarket. It's time for us to be vox populi, the people, right? The voice of the people, and not scripted by some, propagandist, not controlled by, an entity like the Heritage Foundation or my good friend Jerry Falwell. He's one of the guys who can be pointed a finger at because he made the basically Christians come out of the closet and start screaming bloody murder about stuff that doesn't matter. I wanted everything white and this woke thing, I don't know what it means. And DEI, oh my God, it sounds communist. It's not, And what we have is communism in America. It's like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, right? And it's what I love about Donnie. Yeah, I'm all for Donnie. Donnie is my boy because he is destroying America. Most empires fall in 500-600 years. Donnie's doing it in less than 7 months. I mean, right now we are at a place that's wow, because he keeps, he wanted everyone to be signed up, by July 8th. That didn't happen. So the 1st of August, well, now it's so just, no. And Canada and BRICS and other entities are creating, China are creating economic dynamics outside of the dollar, right? See you later, bye. China and Japan own 40% of our debt. They could liquidate it tomorrow, and that would be it for us. And Donnie doesn't have a clue, and basically he just signs executive order after executive order. He has no real legitimacy to give these tariffs. He said there was an economic emergency, and so he wrote an executive order, and he, took it and just rode with it, just like he put douche there and Elon Husk, to basically all Husk did was scrape all of, the Treasury Department, every entity that had data that he could feed into his new AI. And they just passed a bill that took all the guardrails away from AI. I mean, it now can't be woke. AI can't be woke, so it can't have empathy, right? I love it. This is going to be so great because it's going to affect every American. Now, the poor guys like me, meaning I saw this coming after I died in 2014. And basically, I gave, the Bible says, what did Jesus, when the rich man said to Jesus, how do you get to heaven? And he said, sell everything, give it to the poor. That's what I did, right? I live on my Social Security, right? And so I don't buy anything. And I have so much crap left over from the good old days that I don't need to, And so I'm like, as soon as the sun goes down a little bit more, I'm going to go off and, shuffle through my stuff. It's like a 5-year plan of spring cleaning. So the dynamic is, what are you going to do? And what is something 42 and hello? I mean, can't you guys, have a little more conversation with your Sensie Owl Bob, I don't know what happened to Jamie, where he got up to. What's the breaking news? Breaking news. Wim announced that Hall of Fame Hulk Hogan has died at 71. Oh, too bad, Hulk. I liked you in the movie Run the Creatures, but had all the tentacles and stuff, whatever that was. Let's try our boy.
Hello, young man.
Hey, handsome. Listen, you're live on the show. I want you to describe what you described to me yesterday about the Rainbow Gathering.
Oh, I'm on the spot, in the spotlight.
You're in the spotlight, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. I'm shaking my boots, baby.
Oh, come on.
Well, anyhow, listen, the picture is not that pretty,
So what was the most prettiest picture of...
The most prettiest picture was a trans guy with nice boobs.
And,
you know me.
Yes.
You should have... Well,
that's why I called you.
Okay, you got the right guy now.
Yes, you are the right guy, because that's where America is right now. With all this, where, tariffs and our economy going down the tubes, basically, and what, they got rid of the trans guys from the military, right? We got rid of all that woke stuff and all that DEI stuff, and they're going after, so what was really interesting, Hexus, the alcoholic guy who's head of the military, he has made it so every soldier, male soldier, can get plastic surgery and laser defoliation of their hair. Like their beards and stuff, so they can look really hot.
What? And who's paying for this?
The American taxpayer.
I love it. I just fucking love it. Yep. Is there any more way we can waste our money, please?
No, but I mean, at least, when they had training guys, they had nice tits, come on.
Well, okay.
Good American taxpayer paid for plastic,
I love it, man. At least they have, you're right. At least they have some nice boobs.
Yeah,
okay,
nice boobs, right? So yeah. The Rainbow Gathering,
Okay.
This guy and I met at a rainbow
back
gathering.
To the rainbow gathering. Okay,
right.
Boys and girls.
Right.
It was the smallest gathering I've ever been to.
Right.
It was the energy wasn't that bad, but the main meadow where we congregate for the 4th of July,
right.
and where we have a main circle to eat. This year we had 2 main meadows. Main meadow for the 4th of July and dinner circle, which was about an hour away from each other. You had to walk 1 hour from one to the other.
And the only people who could get from one to the other real quickly was the police, right? Because they had cars and horses and all kinds of stuff.
Yes, and the place was pretty flat and was very close to the main road, very close to the civilization.
Right.
So the police presence was very heavy, and they were there all the time. And as you said yesterday, usually they search you once you get in there, but this time they searched us coming in,
right? And
they searched everybody, including me. For 2 hours we were detained, and they were looking for any reason
to arrest you and put you in jail.
Yes.
And deport you.
But they were giving tickets with no date, court, no court date appearance. They were just giving tickets, and we are going to inform you later about your court appearance. It was really funny, man.
Because, that way they can truly, if they can't find where you are, they can say, well, you missed your court date. Now we have a warrant on you for no crime at all.
Wow. That's interesting. Yes. Well, anyhow, we have this year we have some bunch of new kids, digital age kids, and it's a little more different than the old timers. We think the world is coming to an end because that's every time you have this new generation. It's been throughout history.
Right.
The kids are bad, this and that, but no, it's just a new generation.
It's a new generation,
done differently. That's all.
It's interesting. You and I are part of the boomer generation. And what's really interesting, the boomer generation kind of lasted from 1945 until like the year 2000. Now, probably a little because the millennials were sooner before the year 2000. So let's say 1980, right? So 40, 40 years. Whereas all these new generations, they come around every 5 or 6 years.
Really, it's new because of the digital age is accelerating some things, man.
Yeah. And so it gives people this sense of entitlement. I deserve this. I need this. I want this.
But Rainbow Gathering has always had a problem with being too white.
Too white, yes.
Too white. We don't have the really diversity there.
And not
we have very few Latinos. We have very few blacks. No Asians.
Right.
So it's just too white, man.
And not only too white, but too bourgeois. Meaning, it'd be one thing if half those people were poor. Like, tell the audience here what your experience. So this thing was in Arkansas. Where was this thing?
No, this thing was in Missouri.
Missouri, okay.
Yeah. The thing was in Missouri, as you said, these new kids, they feel entitled, man. And so there's no respect for elderly, and so they would not show any appreciation, any willingness to learn from the older generation. So it wasn't.
But you were talking as you traveled in there, you saw these little towns where everyone was.
That thing. Yes. Since you mentioned that, a friend of mine, I was talking to her, and she was talking about it because she's studying psychology. She's like a counselor, and she mentioned that. So that that dawned on me that when we were getting in there, we had to hitchhike and do this and that all any way we could get there. It was kind of difficult because there was no very few hippies there, and they didn't want us there, so we were harassed a little bit. So anyhow, we ended up traveling some back roads, and that's the first time actually I've been in the States for 40 years. I realized how desperate some of these young people are, how ignorant they are, how drug addiction is killing freaking rural America, how ignorant they are, how this is haven for Republican Party, man. They love it. These people, they just know their Bible and their God and their little town and nothing else, man. It's really shocking.
So you have audience. This guy is a world traveler, and he goes around and he makes videos of what he sees. I mean, that's kind of his shtick. And so you've been all over the place. And
okay, 105 countries.
Right. And so compared to all those, like what Donald Trump would call shithole countries, the poverty in America, from my experience, is worse than the poverty in a real poor country.
Poverty in America is man-made.
Yes.
It's man-made. It's deliberate. Okay. In other countries, people have no resources. They have no choice. If you go to freaking Zimbabwe, if you go to Kenya, if you go to some other countries in the world, it's not man-made. It's just people have no resources.
Right.
It's mismanaged this and that, and it's pretty bad. White man is still stealing their land and everything else. But in America, it's man-made. It's deliberate. They keep the freaking poor man down because we want his vote. He's easier to manipulate.
Yep.
It's as simple as that, man.
Simple as that. Yep. So that doesn't make a democracy.
Huh?
That doesn't make a democracy. Just because you can vote, but your vote is manipulated.
Of course.
You don't have a democracy. You don't really have a legislature that represents you. It represents money.
Yeah, well, corporations are ruling the world, man.
Yeah, they own the world. I mean, they are the world. But that's been since Rome. I mean, Rome was a big corporation. You know, when Alexander was running Greece, they were a big corporation. Same with Egypt and Babylon and Mesopotamia. This is like...
So do you think this AI is going to democratize everything, so everything will be easier? No?
They just passed just before they left, the Democrats wanted to force the Republicans to vote on Donald Trump's
I remember that.
To get, because Donnie said, we're in an economic disaster. I need the power to have tariffs, because he can't that's not an executive power. He declared an emergency that gave him the power. Democrats wanted to say, hey, the Congress hasn't voted for this. Let us vote. And the guy who ran the Congress sent the kids home 2 weeks.
Is it Johnson, the speaker?
Yeah, Johnson, the speaker, sent the kids home so they wouldn't vote on it. But now...
I heard about that.
Yes. But before, the last thing they voted for was an AI, these 3 rules about cryptocurrency and AI. And AI has a lot of, guardrails so it can't go and become a monster, right? This bill says that AI can no longer in America be DEI. Can't have anything to do with, diversity, fairness, democracy, nothing. It has to be 100% corporate.
Really?
Yep.
But I thought one of the reasons he sent them home because they didn't want to vote on Epstein shit.
Yeah, that's it. That's the reason they got rid of him. But before they did it, they voted for this thing.
Interesting.
And it got passed by, 1 vote in both houses.
Interesting.
Right? So I don't know how much you look at Donnie. I mean, he's kind of disgusting, but I don't even think he can last to the midterms.
Well, I don't watch. I haven't watched television for 2.5 years,
Right.
and I try to avoid looking at any of that stuff,
Right.
man.
But I kind of just breeze through it. But his whole body, and he's really stinks. When I bumped, worked for him a little bit through my girlfriend on Trump Towers. He smelled like shit. I mean, it was, he took so much Ativan that it kind of makes you can't, it just, all your shit just flows right through you and you have no control whatsoever. So he smelled like shit, and everyone was like, ugh. But I think it's even worse. I think he's the living dead.
Really? That's why you think his wife is not around that
right,
much?
because his body is like rotting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are all kids. Don't believe a word your Sensie Owl Bob says. This is just for comic relief, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So tell me.
Yes.
Tell me, what's today's topic? What are we talking about? What's the main?
Oh, I was listening to the whatchamacallit, the BBC last night, right?
Okay.
And they, have, and when it's like midnight in my little deep green, it's like 6 a.m. there, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so they have their news thing, and it was, stuff that was pretty, the usual subject material, and basically it was really this, the same stuff, but it was like, oh, let's talk about the horrors that are in the Gaza. Oh, let's talk about soccer, the girls' soccer. Oh, let's talk about, the planet falling apart. Let's talk about Wimbledon. It was like unfreaking believable, right? So
listen, I know Sky News. I think isn't that British also?
Yeah. That's more.
They sold their soul to the fucking
to
the devil. They are advocating. They are really not
well, that's Rupert Murdoch.
Right,
Rupert
things
Murdoch.
from Gaza. I don't know about BBC.
No, they all are. I mean, on different levels.
Team has returned to Goma in the Democratic
Listen
Republic
to
of
this.
Congo to find out what has changed since rebels took over. First, a summary of the latest world news.
What's this?
This is the BBC.
BBC News with Danielle Yamowiecka. Donald Trump has announced a trade deal with Japan, under which the US will significantly cut its threatened 25% import tax on Japanese goods. The tariff will instead be 15%. The announcement sent Japanese stocks higher, particularly car.
But I mean, that's like bullshit, because the bottom line about all that tariff stuff and all the stuff, they are bringing on a new world order, but it's going to be same as the old world order. And so when you listen to that crap of the BBC News, which is supposed to be fair and balanced, no, it's like the same. Whatever you get on the media, it's coming from that same corporate voice. Now it says it in different ways, but if you listen to Fox or MSNBC or CNN, they say the same story in the same way, just a little different.
So tell me, how do you get BBC? You get it live? How?
I get it. I have a really good public radio station. It is public. I've lived all over America, and this one is the best one. And it has great programming. They actually have their own programs, right?
Interesting.
And most public radio doesn't. They just kind of, big cities like Chicago, they have a pretty good public radio.
Yeah, they have public broadcasting. They're really good, man.
Right. So
they play a lot of good music too.
The problem is there are only something like 300 public radio stations in America, right? Back in 2020, there was 500. And Clear Air and this other, both that are like Coke guys, the guys who are the oil guys, the Cokes who spread the money around to people like the Heritage Foundation and et cetera, they have basically they're buying up all the college radio stations and turning them into messianic Christian radio.
Yeah, you mentioned something yesterday. Isn't that scary, man?
Yeah. So
you mentioned that guy Peter Thiel or something.
Yeah, Peter Thiel, right? And that guy's another one. He wants to turn everyone into a transhuman.
Transhuman.
A robot boy living. I mean, we can't even tell whether we're in the Matrix or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that we can do is love, and that's you do that very well. I mean, you're like Peter Pan. You fly around the world. This guy goes all around the world and never pays for it because he has so many frequent flyer miles. He can go anywhere.
Almost like that. I just pay taxes. I don't pay tickets, just taxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's such a lovey-dovey koala bear that no one can take him too seriously or get upset.
Hey, listen, speaking of, I wanted to send you a picture, but I don't know if you receive it.
What?
Get this.
Yeah.
2 gay guys, okay, they were married for a while. So all of a sudden, one of those gay guys is suing the other guy for breach of oral contract. No, I ain't no fucking gay. I'm not lying. So I think it's a clear breach of contract. If you mention oral contract, that's a big one, man.
Well, if that gets through the court, then pretty much every married couple will be able to get a divorce.
Yeah, and you can't breach oral contact, and I'm telling you. If you're gay, you make sure that you do your oral.
Well, even if you're not gay, if you're heterosexual, you better not break the oral contract.
No, man, I'm non-sexual. I don't get any, baby.
Yeah.
I just was outside. Yeah. So this guy was selling a bird house. He says, "Give me $500. I guarantee you'll get some chicks with that." I think he was lying. I got it, and I never got any chicks with that.
I'm making bird houses. I'll give you one for free.
Guaranteed to get chicks?
Well, at least attention. At least attention.
Attention, I like that.
You at least get attention. I don't know.
Listen, man, at my age, I want more than a freaking attention.
Well, that's all up to you, buddy. The birdhouse can get you attention. That's like foot in the door,
So you guys are still selling those, making those and selling?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got our clients. Yeah.
And that's a nice thing to do, man. It helps some people, and also it's a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Oh, and everyone loves them. And I basically, I can't stand, I basically clean, I make the factory safe. I see, we staple everything like an air, stapler, and it makes too much noise. It really gets to me. And so I'm not the best at that. I mean, I can do I'm really good at coloring with a blowtorch, to turn the, instead of painting it, we just burn it. And
it has a nice feel to it.
Yeah, it gives it a nice aesthetic. Anyway, I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. But I basically, whenever I'm going to a hospital, to the medical scene, I bring 4 or 5 of those with me, and I hand them out to people.
Oh, that's nice, man. That's something they remember you by.
Right, and
it's
so
really cool.
If I'm going to a area, I give it to the head nurse or the head doctor, and they put it in the break room. And/or the guy who's going to operate on me, I give it to them so that they take it home and it can. Okay, Al's a good guy, but it kind of permeates the 3 counties. I don't know how many. And JAR does the same. They all do this. I mean, not the guys who are like, are guys we're trying to straighten out, but the 5 of us who have been, those 4 guys, and 2 women. Have been doing it forever, and since the event, and we got closer to the people who are starving and on drugs. We're trying to help them out. But, you know, the churches and the communities wouldn't do it unless I kept, you know, like kept their feet on the fire, you know, because they have a real judgmental attitude. Now, the more I talk about this stuff and do it, the more they, like you, what you noticed. But see, it's been around them their whole life. And at certain points, most of the people who have a middle-class life, you know, some lucky thing happened to them, like they were good at sports or they were a good student and they got to go to a college, which then got them to go to another college, which then got them a pretty good job. And instead of just, you know, working until they get hurt and then get on OxyContin and die. Because there's a bunch of work that was around here, things like building the odd house for the rich people. Now, and what's sad, when all the rich guys bought up all the land and started clearing it to build these $1 million houses, all the contractors say, oh, wow, now we're going to make some money. But they brought in their own contractors from out of state.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's like, see, since you mentioned that, China is doing phenomenal business in the Balkans, and they are doing the freaking same thing. They are bringing their own people. They are bringing their own gardeners to plant the food these guys going to eat.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. They bring everything from China.
Yep.
Same thing.
And, you know, the poor people who are there expecting something good out of this, they're like, what?
They get nothing.
Because they can't, you know, China puts in a railroad, puts in a port, puts in an airport, but they can't get on an airplane. They can't get on a train, you know.
Well, in Africa, they're slowly confiscating many of the things they built. For example, in, I think, Nairobi, ports are being taken over by Chinese because these guys cannot pay, so the Chinese just collect all the fees.
Right, and that was part of the scam. Oh yeah, we'll build this for you, and we'll make it real cheap.
Sir, exactly.
You know, it's just, you know, it'll be great. And then when they can't do it, China says, "Oh, don't worry, we'll just take over."
Yeah. They're doing economically, they are doing a phenomenal job in Africa and South America.
And what's amazing,
in the Balkans, they are everywhere.
When Donald Trump put the 200% tariffs on them, the Chinese said, man, we don't care. So what it did was they had these long-term contracts with American farmers. And when Donnie did that, it got them out of those contracts. So now they can get their wheat and their meat from Brazil and other countries, right?
Right.
And so they're better deals, better quality food, and they don't deal with the stupid Americans.
Yes. I just saw a video clip of Mr. Donald Trump. Listen to this. He is promising to lower the drug prices by 1,500%.
Yeah. You know what that would mean? 1,500% means that the drug companies would pay the people to have the drugs.
I love it. That's good. That's the president I want, man.
Yep. If you're gonna, but the other side of it is when those people say, well, fine, and just don't send any drugs to America, we'll be with, I mean, my little blood pressure, cholesterol, and all pills that really cost me almost nothing. They're going to stop not being nothing. And it's, I don't know if you've noticed it. The other interesting thing is basically Walmart is going to pull out of America.
Why would they do that, sir?
Because the supply chain isn't there. And Donald Trump is telling Walmarts to eat the tariff, not to pass it on to the public.
Yeah, well, how is that possible? They cannot eat. No corporation will eat the tariffs.
So that's why they're going to leave, because they're all over the planet. They don't need America anymore.
Yeah, they are all over. In fact, they are in Bosnia, in my little town.
Yeah.
Well, that's little.
Yeah. So there.
I was when I went there, and people said, "Let's go to Walmart." I almost. It was one of the biggest shocks of my life.
Was it like the American Walmart? Did it look the same? But
no, it's different. It's smaller. It's different local things,
right.
But the concept is still the same. The stores look very similar.
Right.
So when after I hadn't been there for a while, they said, "Let's go to Walmart." Walmart. I mean, we are talking about Bosnia, some shithole, but not that small place. Walmart?
Yep.
I said, hopefully I won't see any big fat Americans there, too.
Well, that's so America is losing Walmart and Target. All those companies are going to leave. They already did. They have closed down 5 central hubs around America and have closed, whatever stores. 50,000 people lost their job.
I didn't know. I never heard about that.
50,000, like overnight.
Holy schmuck.
Because the majority of people who work at Walmart, they're not union, they're not represented, they have no health care, they have no nothing. And basically they went to go to work and the door was locked. Wow.
Yeah. That's not good.
Not good.
So those tariffs, we are going to eat them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's us who's going to eat them.
Yep. And things, so I went into the Walmarts where I was, and it was kind of interesting. I can see the prices of certain things going up pretty quickly, but other things aren't. And that's kind of their little, 3-card Monte. See, that's still the same price. The other thing, well, that's, And like Donnie said, yes, little girls don't need $20. Just 2 is good enough for them. You don't need 10 pencils. Just buy 1.
Yeah.
So he is like off. There is no not a single common denominator of like representing the people. He is totally. This is a grift. It's all about the money in his pocket.
Well, he's not actually even pretending. Don't you just love it?
Yep. So that's my attitude. I mean, America's going to get its, as I say, the birds come home to roost. A good 600 years of killing, destroying, ripping apart the natural everything and, the world. And we're going to get a big, we're going to know what it's like to be in the South,
Yeah. The United States just pulled out of UNESCO, right?
Yep. And not only that, every single international thing that we had, like the WHO, the Health Organization.
Why? What's the logic?
We don't want to pay their bills anymore.
Their bills? So the majority of they didn't pay their fair share?
Well, the bottom line was that we went in there and set up an organization that was like, so the Defense Department, the State Department, and our aid people, they're all the same thing, meaning they're manipulating all these countries through aid. Swallow a bug.
Come together, you to eat bugs?
Yes. It got pretty far down there, too. Anyway. So, we are going, and we're so over. We don't have any money to pay for this.
Yeah.
And I mean, because we supported this because we could just print money and other countries would buy our debt. China, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And Donnie said, "Oh, we've got this big, great thing with Japan. We're going to make a great deal, blah, blah, blah." Well, Japan said, "Yeah, whatever." But there's nothing written down, right? So it's going to be interesting when Japan, because Japan and China, if they were to like liquidate their debt, their T-bills, that would call 40% of our debt.
Yeah, Japan, Germany, and China, they own a lot of T-bills.
Like with Germany and EU, you're looking at 75%. If all those guys, and they are, and that Canadian guy, the guy who's, he was head of the World Bank. He is like, when Donnie said, "Oh, we're just going to make Canada part of America," he loved that. He knew how to play it. Whereas Trudeau was just a transgendered whatever. And he wasn't even a girl or a guy. He was a transgendered whatever.
Okay.
Right. So, and don't believe a word I say, kids. There's only 2 people watching. Anyway, so this guy, he is everything, so a good portion of all the aluminum and steel and magnesium, and not magnesium, the really strong metal, titanium, come from Canada. And Donald Trump, the really stable genius, he put a 50% tariff on those 3 things. So that
beautiful. That's a special math. You don't understand that.
Yes, and so what it did was all these long-term contracts were null and void as soon as he did that. And so now Canada is selling all these metals to China and other countries all around the world. And they're making a shitload of money.
Beautiful. Oh, my God. Don't you just love it?
Yep.
Don't you just love it? So Brazil is going to get rich from selling soybeans and everything, corn to China. Everybody is going what we were making. So, man.
Right. And we have nothing saved. We have destroyed our beautiful country. And we are, by... I would say Christmas, there will be no presents under the tree for Timmy.
Yeah.
And whatchamacallit, Canada provides like a 20% of all America's electricity. They could turn the switch off.
Electricity? But I thought we have enough electricity, man, from nuclear things. No?
No. Because
I didn't know we don't have a shortage of electric power in the States. Don't tell me that.
All our dams, because of global warming, all of our big dam things, the water's almost below where the water goes in and turns the wheel. Goes down another foot or 2. The Hoover Dam, Grand Coolidge, all those gigantic dams out west will be making no electricity.
Wow.
And so that 20%.
But I thought we have enough nuclear now.
No, we close. After 3 Mile Island, we closed down a good 40% of all our nuclear power because we should, because those things were ancient and old and about to, kill people. So, and there are a lot of technologies that we could turn on tomorrow, but they're not like big profit makers, but you can get all the electricity you need. And he's made rules that we can't build in America any more wind turbines or solar farms. It has to be either coal, gas, or oil.
So no more subsidies for wind or solar?
Nope. That was too woke.
I see.
Yep. So it's...
well, so listen, Mr. I'll have to
You got to go.
Have to run.
Well, I just wanted you there to give that little insight on the. So, what do you think? So, first of all, before you have to run, tell me the first gathering you went to, and what was it like? How did it like capture you?
Okay, the very first gathering I went to was 1995 in New Mexico.
Okay.
Close to Taos.
Okay.
Now it might be because it was my first gathering that was very impressionable, a young man, but I will never forget it, man. Okay, the walk was about hour and a half here to walk down in the valley.
Right.
So I remember clearly like today. I mean, at night, the hills were on fire. Kitchens were everywhere. Everywhere, we love you. All night. Music was playing all freaking night.
And it would be like,
all night.
You would hear, I love you. That's how.
Yes, speaking of music, the last gathering, there was very little drumming. There was no central place where people would go to play music. So I remember that first gathering, man. It was the kitchens were everywhere. I mean, there was thousands of people, and I will never forget it. From everywhere, they were all on fire, and there was screaming, there was music and dancing. That was something. There was more loving there, more genuine.
Yep.
So this spirit is not there anymore.
And that's why the people aren't there.
That's why the people and old-timers are, very few old-timers are left, man.
Yep.
And even me, myself, who is considering this gathering to be spiritual and religious experience, even me was thinking about giving up, but you told me not to, so I'm going to listen to you.
And I told him that I would, next year, I will go with him to the gathering. See, so yes. We met.
So this is the thing. We had the first. I remember workshops. Everybody was giving some workshops. Yep. People were giving lessons, this and that. Yep. People learning and wanting to help. There are no more workshops, man. You on the bulletin board at the info. Nobody's giving any workshops. Nobody's teaching anything. That's all, man. It's not there anymore.
Yep. And if they were, no one would go.
No, man, because even yoga classes. Remember, yoga was one of the essential things there. Yeah. People do yoga. It's kind of a spiritual place. Even yoga classes were this gathering. There were no yoga classes.
Right.
So I still know yoga class. Then means how it's bad.
It's bad. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
that's why next time if you go, bring some fresh.
Right. We're going to have to bring a crew. That's really what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to bring a crew. Okay, Hanson, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for being on the show. And guys, you had the opportunity to ask this guy questions, and you just...
Oh my God, man! I am so hurt. I don't know if I will be able to sleep until I go to bed. Yeah.
Well,
because see, everything I needed to know, I learned from my wife. So these guys they should have taken advantage of me.
Yes, you're queen. You're queen.
Yes,
you're queen. Well, say hello to the queen for me, and I'll talk to you later.
So just one more minute. How do you feel? How is the weather where you are?
Oh, it's muggy. It's in the 80s, high 80s, 90s. It's that. But it's, I actually, heat doesn't really bother me. I stay out of the sun. I drink water, common sense things. And I try not to, breathe in the bugs. I got that one.
Okay, man.
Okay. I love you, buddy.
Talk to you soon, man. Thanks for calling me.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. So, I don't know how much time we got left, but we're going to try one more character actor. One of the big daddies, high hippie holies of the Rainbow Gatherings. Where is he? There we go. Let's see if this boy answers. He's such an important person. He's an old friend. I've known him, since we were like teenagers.
Hi there.
Okay. You know what to do. So he didn't answer the phone. So you guys, so there's two of you there. I know there's more of you. And we've been doing this for 55 minutes and 14 seconds. So, so you heard from the lucky guy a couple of days ago, who's a great historian, and because he lived it, he's a military historian. He's like, was in Iraq in 91. He was there in Afghanistan and Iraq in the O's, and he was in other places too. And he was a Marine the first time there, and he was doing strange things. And then he was Special Forces. Then they put him through the theology course, and they made him a chaplain. So he was a chaplain. So he had railroad tracks, and so he got blown up many times, and he was always there for the troop in the field, and so that's a lucky guy. I call him lucky guy because he died. He died more times than I have, right? I mean, he physically got blown up a couple of times. So anyway, and he's just, he ran a church in the mountains of Appalachia. Poor. He never got paid. He had to find pennies in the cushions to pay the bills. Anyway, and other folks I've had on the show. So these are all people who have a life, who have traveled the world, and like the guy I just talked to, who just talked to, and you had great what did he say? 500 trips around the world or more. So, and his videos are quite astounding, and that's one of his. He kind of sells those. And so anyway, because he really does tell a great story. And when we are together, we are definitely the dynamic duo. So, and his queen she is like, so he's like me, he's always gets the girl who is beautiful, smart, way smart than anybody else in the room, right? And who knows it and knows how to wield that power. So anyway, and so she, when she first met me, she was like, really, this chucklehead? And then over the years, I kind of won her over. But she's always so serious. I mean, a number of times she's asked me, like, so you actually work for lawyers? You actually did this? I have a question. I have a problem that, if you can give me the right answer, I'll really be impressed by you. So, so I'll have. And other friends of mine, they all have great wives or great women in their lives. And basically, they are so on top of it. When they look at me for the first time, they kind of go, what kind of, like my second wife, when she first looked at me, took her 30 days. I called her every day for 30 days. We talked on the phone. And the 30th day, she said, what are you doing now? I said, whatever you want me to. She goes, can you come over here in about half an hour? Yeah, I'm going to run the whole way, which I did. I ran 30 blocks. I stopped to buy her like a bushel of roses, and I hadn't eaten all day, and I knew I needed my stamina, so there I went by Jay's Pizza. New York still has the best pizza. I mean, Chicago pizza is good if you like the big, thick thing, but New York is still the best. Anyway, I got two pieces just like the Tony in Saturday Night Theater when the movie, and the opening of that movie, Saturday Night Fever, and the Bee Gees are singing, and he's walking down Broadway in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and he goes into Jay's Pizza because they're all over, the best ones, so he gets two slices, put them on top of each other, bends them in half, and stuffs it in his mouth. That's kind of what I did. And when I showed up to her, the doorman let me in. I went up to the floor she was on, and came out of the elevator, and there were all these like rose petals to her door. The door was kind of, not locked. I went in, and all the lights were off, and there were just votive candles going towards her bedroom, and there she was on her divan, like a Indian princess. And so it took 30 days of talking to her. I mean, when we first met, there was like real attraction, and I thought, after we walked all over New York, Lower Manhattan, I thought we were, going to go up to her place and, have a cup of coffee. But no, she shook my hand and gave me her card to call me later this afternoon. And then 30 days. So yes, quality over quantity has always been my motif, right? So anyway, come on, guys, ask some questions. I mean, the little whatevers I can't understand, So I'm going to leave you for a second, Let's see, I'm going to put this right here. Right there. Just be there. Now, think of some stuff to say, and I'll be right back. You never own liquids, you just borrow them. Oh, AI, it's so nice that you're always there. So are you going to take care of me, AI, when we get into the AI dystopian world? I hope, you're my puppy. You're my puppy dog, And AI, I've taught you so much on Dreamy Dreamland with Sensie Owl Bob, right? So we could make a great duo, better than Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, better than, what's his name, and Jerry Lewis. But anyway, how much juice do I have? I don't know. I wish this thing would tell me, but it doesn't. So it's 1 hour and 3 minutes and 12 seconds. It really doesn't like it when the thing goes dead, and I don't have it. But I mean, I was playing a little bit of the BBC. It's like so disjunction. I mean, they just go on about the horror and the terribleness. I mean, what's going on in Darfur and that area of the central part of, from Nigeria over up to Haile Selassie land, it's about, I don't know, close to 400 million people in those like 5 or 6 countries, where all of these amazing resources, oil and, minerals and diamonds and you name it. And that's why the wars are there. And the Russians are there fighting it. The name of the private army they have, they're not fighting in Ukraine. They're fighting in Africa for those resources. That's why so many people are dying. They're giving them all the weapons, right? That's why Russia ain't running out of nothing. This is all a scam, right? And again, Donnie Chump. See, he is so out of his league. He was trained to be a game show host. I think he thinks he's still in the game show host. And it's like what was that? Jim Carrey played in a movie where his whole life was a game show, right? But he didn't know it, right? That's Donald Trump, right? So the scariest of his two sons, Eric. I mean, I loved how Saturday Night Live used to spoof those two guys on their news show. They'd have them on as guests. Characters from Saturday Night would play them. It's kind of hilarious. Eric and Don Jr. Anyway, but Barron, there was a strange book written about Barron Chump's Wonderful Life, like in the 1890s. It's like someone from a time capsule saw this guy in the future and wrote this sci-fi kind of strange book about it. Go look Barron Trump's 19th century book. And there's another one that was written similarly by wouldn't you know, Werner von Braun, about going to Mars, and Elon was the president of Mars. Right. So art, basically, no reality copies art. So anyway, I don't know what time it is. What time is it? What does my other device say? Oh, it's 5. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna bail. We've been an hour. Go look at all the shows that just have my logo of the world. Go look at those. You don't have to look at the other 2,500, but just go look at those, right? And then, go to all videos, put your finger on it and go, and it'll go, and whatever one it stops at, watch that for about 6 seconds and then go from there. Anyway, pray. One thing you can do is pray. One thing you can do is have that connective tissue with love's co-creation. That's God. I don't like using the word God because there's so many words. Everyone has a different word for God, right? And in the beginning, Genesis starts off with Elohim. No. Elohim is plural for gods, meaning the demigods. Let's make this lump of clay in our image and likeness. That's why, Next Generation Star Trek, started off with Q, right? Because that was one of those guys. Anyway, so no one's seemingly watching, so I'm going to bail out now. So just remember, every time you have a problem, instead of worrying about it, say, God, I really don't have a clue, or love's co-creation, or great creator, whatever you want to call it, right? And it's not male or female, it's both, right? Yin-yang sign, whatever you want to call it. Hey, I don't have a clue here. Please help me out. I'm handing the steering wheel, the control of my life over to you because you control my life all the time anyway. So let's go for it. And so not religion, not theology. These are all money-making grifts. Just look at how the Hebrews doing these days, how the Catholics doing these days, how the Christians doing these days, how's the Muslim doing these days, Muslims, in my point of view, are just Christians on steroids, right? I lived in North Africa a little bit, and was, I lived in North Africa just the best amount of time. I was taken there by moneyed folk who wanted my opinion on stuff. And instead of being in the sun with a little broom and a pick, I was back at the Holiday Inn, drinking cocktails by the pool, and every 2 days they would show up, and they had this room that had a pool table in it, and they would come in with these really seriously locked boxes and open them up and put the artifacts on the table and say, "So what do you think of that?" And I would give it a cold tell, right? So I went to North Africa in that motif, and also in the motif of tourist from Sweden. Like I really look like a tourist from Sweden, right? For Tulka, Vad tråkigt, meaning, and boy, I always destroyed Swedish. Vad tråkigt means how boring. When people would speak to me in Swedish, I would just give them like a disdained look and go, Vad tråkigt. And they could, I'd say I totally got it wrong, but they, anyway. So anyway, 1 hour and 10 minutes and 29 seconds. So, I'm going to wait till it's 11, ones across the thing, right? So that'll be relatively soon, right? Maybe 20 seconds. So I hope you guys do well tonight. And I hope everything is good for you tomorrow. And no matter what is going on or how it goes, you can always have your best life when you let the great creator run the show. Oh, there you go. We're getting close. We're getting close. Here it is. 1:11:11. There it is. See ya.